welcome to Dreams Traveled. I'm Kalia, and in this video I'm going to be telling you the story of how I ran away from my workaway experience. So tuck yourself in if you want a story time before bed, or if it's during the day, grab a snack, grab a cup of coffee, grab some tea, because I'm going to be spilling a lot of tea and you're not ready for it, honey. So I was living in Barcelona for 10 months. Corona had hit in March of 2020, and I was working from home for about 4 months. My end goal was to travel throughout Europe. What I wanted to do was do a workaway for the month of July. Now, a workaway is kind of the same thing as an au pair. What you do is you work for someone. In exchange, they give you a place to sleep and sometimes even food. I was looking and I found a meditation retreat center that would allow me to work there in Menorca, which is an island off the coast of Spain. A dream for me. I've been practicing yoga and meditation for years now, and I would love to delve deeper into my spirituality, and I've always wanted to go to a meditation retreat, and in this I would be able to sometimes join in the sessions at the meditation retreat. But I didn't like how I would have to have stayed in a dorm with 3 other girls because I wanted my own room. I found another workaway. It was in the south of Spain. I thought it would be in Malaga, but it wasn't. It was in a place called Fuengirola, which is about an hour away from Malaga, in the middle of nowhere. The profile on the workaway said your own room, your own bathroom, and I'll feed you 3 meals a day. So I said, this is perfect. I want this. What do I have to do? You have to walk my dogs 2 hours a day, which is an hour in the morning, an hour at night. You have to cook for me, and you have to clean the house for an hour a day. Basically nothing, right? When I arrived in the private room, the closet was full of her winter coats, a poker table that wasn't used, a lot of her paperwork and storage boxes, the dog food. Also, the dogs would sleep in the room. So it was not a private room for me. It was a storage room where you sleep with the dogs. The bed was covered in dog hair because they shed. When I told my host that I was not comfortable with the dog sleeping in my room, she said,
"This is a dog household.
Basically, deal with it." There was no lock on the door, and because this was her home, she had access to it at any time. On my last day sleeping there, I actually got home from walking the dogs and she was in my room with the door closed, going through paperwork, which did not make me feel comfortable because I had important stuff in my room as well. And who knows if she was going through my things, my journal. I had my passport in the room, very important things. And I didn't have a lock on the door. She had access to it at any time. The private bathroom. The host told me that her son goes to university somewhere else in Europe. Because of COVID, he had to move back home. So he had to share the bathroom with me, which sucked. I don't know you. I don't want to share a bathroom with a male, let alone anyone. Her son was very, very, very sweet, but I just didn't like that he was around the house. It's just like having someone that you don't know in the house is just hella weird. So I didn't vibe with it at all. There was a camera that I found out. At least my host could have told me about the camera that was in her home. And I understand you're bringing strangers into your home. Good for you. Like, have your camera, watch these people. Like, I would have cameras as well. But let them know that you have cameras. What if I was scratching my account? She was watching me do that. Like. So then we go to the food. I come to find out that she is keto vegan. Who the fuck is keto vegan? What do you eat? She really didn't have much food. And she even asked me, "Kalia, what do you like to eat?" I told her I love having blueberry smoothies in the morning. I love nuts. In Europe, people really don't have air conditioning, okay? So this is July in the south of Spain. It gets very hot. So she suggested that I eat oatmeal in 85-degree weather in an unair-conditioned apartment, because that's how little food she had. She really didn't have much food, and she was following a vegan keto diet, which is basically eating celery sticks. if you don't have much food, then don't say that you're gonna provide 3 meals a day.
So you're probably thinking to yourself, Kalia, buy your own damn food if you're hungry, if you're starving. Well, number one, I'm cheap. And number two, I was trying to save because I knew that I was gonna travel throughout Europe. And this is why I chose this WORKAWay, because she was going to provide me with 3 meals a day, meaning I can save as much money as possible. So I really wasn't trying to spend money. So continue watching about me complain about how she doesn't have food, yet I was too cheap to go buy more food.
When she took me in as her workawayer, she even said, since I'm taking, someone in as a workawayer, I don't make that much money, so we have to really portion food out. And I'm thinking to myself, if you don't have enough money, then don't put on your profile that you're going to provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you don't have money, don't take a workawayer in. So my host told me that she studied animal training. She told me what you do is you reward good behavior and you ignore bad behavior. And this is what she did to me. She was treating me like an animal. When I would talk to her, she would reward me with smoothies and nuts and things that I told her that I like. She asked me about the food I ate, not to know what to buy for me, but to manipulate me. That's what she did. When I wouldn't speak to her, she would be clearly upset and it would create this tension in the household. So the conversations were basically her talking to me. I really didn't speak that much. She just wanted to talk about herself. There was a time when we went to a cafe after she got off work, and she talked about herself for like 30 minutes. And after that, the rest of the time was quiet, silence. She didn't dare to ask me a question about myself. She never asked me about myself. All she did was wanted to talk to someone. And I can understand, like, okay, you want to work away to have conversations with people, to do a cultural exchange, but this is not what she was doing. We were not exchanging culture at all. Even though she's from Belgium, she still spoke English. There was no cultural exchange. Yes, we were in Spain, but we weren't exchanging any kind of culture. Taking care of her dogs. I had to walk her 2 dogs for an hour in the morning and an hour at night. Now, because it's very hot in the south of Spain during the summer, she said that I had to walk the dogs early in the morning because if you walk them too late, it gets very hot. This meant I had to wake up at like 6 a.m. I came here on WORKAWay thinking I would be able to sleep in until 10. She told me that her dogs were rescue dogs, but she didn't say that they were severely traumatized. These dogs could not leave the house without a muzzle because they would bite anyone that came in their direction. There was a small dog and a big dog, and the big dog would bark and lunge at children, at adults, at bikes, anything that moved. This dog would go absolutely ballistic. The small dog was pretending that she was deaf when I would call her and wouldn't listen. So there was so much frustration for these dogs. I hated that they were sleeping in my room. I hated that they shed everywhere. I hated how they were on the walks. I felt so bad for them because they were so traumatized and they had to deal with this every day. Leaving the house was so scary for them and I felt bad for them, but I also hated their guts. This was in the countryside. When I would walk the dogs, I would take them to the countryside where there's dirt, there's bugs, the river is disgusting, and the dogs would come home and sit on my bed. Every morning, I would wake up with 2 bug bites, and this drove me insane. It was so disgusting to wake up with bug bites. Like, it's the most disgusting thing. It makes my skin crawl. So the previous workawayer told me that the dogs had tick bites, so I assumed that the dogs had ticks, so they would bring it in my bed and I would get tick bites as well. The straw that broke the camel's back was when I confronted about my bug bites, telling her I was waking up every morning with 2 bug bites and I felt super uncomfortable, and I think it's because of her dogs sleeping on my bed and being in my room. And she said, no, those were mosquito bites. She pretended that she was a bug expert, telling me exactly what kind of bite my bug bites were. I can't tell you how uncomfortable I was. I would ask her, oh, hey, host, how are ya? And she would say,
my neck and my shoulders hurt.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah, it hurt so bad.
Remember, she wouldn't ask about me. In the 9 days that I was there, she asked me 10 questions, I swear to God. So she would always complain about how her neck and her shoulders hurt. So one night, she asked me,
I have a favor to ask you. You don't have to do it because it's a favor, But would you mind massaging my neck and my shoulders?
So what was I supposed to do in that situation?
In that situation, what I should have done was say no. And of course, you can look back and say, oh, I should have done this, I would have done this, I would have done that. But when it actually happens and you're in that circumstance, you really don't know what to do. Through this, I learned that hopefully next time I'm able to say no. Because when someone asks you to do something you don't want to do, please say no. Even if you think it's gonna hurt their feelings.
She had given me a place to sleep. She was feeding me, barely. And so I decided, you know what, sure, I'll give you a massage. So I was massaging her and she was wearing kind of like a shirt like this. And she said,
Oh, is this in the way?
and I said, no, it's not in the way, it's fine, you can keep it on. And she was like,
No, it's okay, I'll take it off.
and she took her top off and her breasts were exposed. And it was just a really uncomfortable moment. It was just really weird massaging someone I had known for a week with their top off. First of all, if you have neck and back issues, get a masseuse. She was very, very cheap. So she should have gotten a masseuse. She shouldn't make her workaways massage her. Well, she didn't make me, right? She asked and I said yes, but it's an uncomfortable situation.
Know how I feel. Why would you say that? Like, you put me in such an uncomfortable situation. Like, I'm not happy. I'm trying to see if it'll work out here, and I know that it's not.
So then I go to hang out with the previous workawayer one weekend in Malaga. I told her about this and I said, oh my God, I felt so uncomfortable. She asked me to massage her. What could I do? I massaged her and she took her top off. The previous workawayer goes, she did the same thing to me too. And I literally got physically ill. Physically ill. I felt like I had to vomit. If this was a situation with a young girl and the host being a male, this would be unacceptable. But because it's two women, it's okay? No, it's not. It's just not right. You don't do that to people you don't know. I told her I would be there for the entire month of July. But after the 8th day, I knew that I had to leave. This was a very toxic environment. She was manipulating me. She was basically abusing me. The massage, it was the private room, the private bathroom, the traumatized dogs, the sparseness of food, her not having a conversation with me, her just talking all about herself, forced me to leave. On the 9th of July, 2020, I woke up supposed to have walked the dogs, fed them. I didn't do any of that. I did feed them because I didn't want them to starve. I packed my shit up so quickly. Her son was sleeping in his room. I went in the kitchen and I made the biggest smoothie of my life. I put everything she told me that I could not eat in that smoothie. Her frozen blueberries, her kale. I went on the train and I ran away to Malaga. Thank God the previous workawayer was living there and I was able to stay with her for one night. Oh my God, I love you so much. Thank you so much, Rocio. Like, what I wouldn't do without Rocio. Like, I don't know what I would have done without her. I was with Rocio for a night and then I went to a hostel in Malaga for 3 days and it was so nice because that was basically my first solo travel trip. It was a four days in Malaga trying to figure out what the fuck I was gonna do. Was I gonna travel or was I gonna go home? And as you can see from my previous videos, I did end up traveling to 9 different countries. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I left and I sent her a text message and I said, what you put on your profile is completely different than what you're giving to your workawayers. I think this is extremely terrible and this is why I left. Good luck with your life. She ended up contacting the previous workawayer and telling her, how could Kalia have left? Now I'm stuck. Like, she'll be fine. You have 2 hands and 2 feet. She is extremely healthy. She can make herself dinner. She can walk her dogs, but she wanted a servant. Like, I'm all for helping people that need help. I'm all for serving people that really, really need it. But she didn't. Lessons that I learned. Follow your heart and not your head, because I knew that my heart wanted to work on a meditation retreat on an island off the coast of Spain, and my head wanted comfortability and my own private room and private bathroom, but in the end I ended up getting screwed. And I think if I would have followed my heart, I would have not had a terrible experience. I think another life lesson is that if you're not comfortable in a situation, you always have the choice to leave. So leave no matter what. Yes, I promised her I was gonna be there for 30 days, but I was uncomfortable and I felt unsafe, so I did leave. If you are unhappy, you are the creator of your universe. You have the choice to leave. So leave.
Bitch, then leave.
Your self-worth and your comfortability comes before anything. So if those are disrupted, then you need to leave. No matter if it's your boss or any kind of authoritative figure, if they're bringing you down and if they're not making you feel comfortable, they're not making you feel worthy, they're not making you feel important, then you need to have a conversation with them and try to fix it, or go ahead and leave. And I did that many times with my host. I tried to communicate and talk to her, but she wasn't budging. So that's when I decided to leave. And no matter if you make a promise, like I said before, if you make a promise and you say you're going to stay for a month, it doesn't matter. If you're unhappy, you're not comfortable, then leave, because your happiness is more important than anything else. Yes, I did have a terrible workaway experience, but it doesn't mean that you're going to have a terrible workaway experience. So what I would recommend is to really do your research. Maybe not stay with someone that is just living by themselves. Maybe stay with a family, because one of my friends did a workaway and she had a great experience with the family. So just do your research, know what you're getting into, really get to talk to your workaway host before you go, and see if your heart is telling you to go as well.
So I hope that you enjoyed me for however long this video is. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.